Suspense. We have the much-awaited rematch between Ben Whittaker and Liam Cameron this Sunday. You would have seen, I assume, the gloves are off.
Yes, I did.
I did as well. What was your takeaway from that?
Do you know what? Sometimes I think what I took from that was that Ben Whittaker, who's normally this flamboyant, outgoing, has the answer for everything type of guy, didn't have the answers, because I think the answers were in that performance that he had. Only he knows the answers, if I'm totally honest, and he didn't want to share them with us. That's up to him. I think he underestimated Liam Cameron going in first time round. And I've been all over the place with this one. I've gone from thinking that Ben Whittaker would have enough to turn it all around. Then after watching the build-up and watching the interviews and watching the body language of the two, I went to Liam Cameron. I'm now starting to think that Whittaker will find a way again. And I think that silence, that's what I took from that one. A lot of people were looking at that and taking a lot of, he seems rattled.
Why are you going from Arthur to Martha in short order?
Yeah, because it's one of those fights that really could be won either way. It's one of those fights that we don't really know until it happens, because that situation in that fifth round, at the end of that fifth round, when they went over the ropes, only Ben Whittaker's got the answer. Ben Whittaker has the answers on whether he was really injured or whether he wasn't. If he was injured, then he's going to deal with it. And
what did you make of his answers? I mean, I thought Johnny was asking him perfectly valid questions.
Yeah, the radio silence.
And it was just not just radio silence. He just wasn't interested in giving an answer about an injury, because apparently it's going to perhaps compromise him or breach some sort of Hippocratic oath somewhere.
I just think that he knows that he's going to look a complete tit if he doesn't perform the way he should. So he's going to want to let the answers be done in the ring. That's where I think I'm at with this one. And I just think that Ben Whittaker does have that ability. Andy Lee, by the way, I think is a huge...
Is this a statement of serious intent?
And that's where I'm sort of leaning towards Whittaker again. I think that Andy Lee's a great trainer.
What did you make of the claims that Ben was saying, that he kind of set up his training sessions as he wanted to? He did what he wanted to do. Well, do you believe that?
Absolutely.
With Sugar Hill?
I think absolutely. I think there's a lot of fighters that have had them sort of situations in the past where they've done things on their terms, and they've just got people that are working for them, just allow them to get away with certain situations.
It's not professional, is it?
No, it's not professional, but it happens. Unfortunately, it does happen. And he was saying that basically he was calling the shots. You can only go by what he was saying. Andy Lee won't allow that to happen. And I think with Hamza Shiraz signing up with Andy Lee as well, I think that's a great sparring partner for Ben Whittaker. I just think that Ben will now find a way. I really do. It's not going to be easy.
So do I. But you're preaching to the converted. I've maintained that position.
Yeah, well, I haven't, mate. I've been jumping around from, all over the place with it, because it is one of those fights that, until that bell rings, we don't know.
You've been watching the soap opera unfold around the administrative error that boxers seem to have visited upon their fighter.
Yes, I obviously have, and I've had conversations.
You've seen this before?
Only today, to be honest with you. I mean, whoever put the contract together has made a ricket. It's quite simple as that. And that's for them to sort out. I mean, I had a discussion this morning on my way here with regard to our actions, what we would do. I don't think we need to do anything at the present time unless it's the last minute, because this is a contractual issue, and therefore they should sort it out. I'm sure they will.
So the board, as we speak right now, don't know whether it's a 10 or 12 rounder?
As far as I'm concerned, all the paperwork we've received, it's a 10-round contest.
Right, OK.
I mean, we had Ben Shalom the other day saying that it's now being... Queensberry are making sort of a lot of noise about it, trying to make him look a bit silly, which I think they helped themselves to make themselves look silly by doing the error in the first place, and then going on about it forever and a day. If they haven't found an impasse and it isn't been settled and more money has been paid over to Liam Cameron as a result of going down to 10, is there any jurisdiction that you have in this area?
I think that the situation is that if we need to, I suppose we would have to get involved. I don't believe we need to do anything at the moment. Well, I don't think it looks very good at all.
No, but what, if you were to get involved, what would your involvement look like?
I think I'll just look into the contract and see what it is. I mean, ultimately it's
that. And so if the contract says 12 rounds and it's an argument, what happens with you guys go, I don't give a shit, we get on with this fight now?
Well, I think the situation, at some point, somebody's got to say, we're boxing. Are you boxing or not? If they pull the fight because of this dispute, there's still other people's going to... Will they cancel the show? There's other people being affected. So ultimately, sensible people will have to sit down at some point and discuss it. And whatever they do is down to them. But it is a contractual issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, look, the fight goes ahead, whether it's 10 rounds, 12 rounds. You're an ex-fighter, so you understand. We've talked about this. The training is the same whether you're doing a 10, whether you're doing a 12. All right, your mindset might be slightly different knowing you're doing a 10, 12, but if you believe you're going to win, you're going to win.
Well, I put it this way. We were talking earlier. I didn't box at the same level as you to a certain extent. But, I mean, if somebody beat me, I'd want to beat them. It doesn't matter how many rounds it is in return. And that's ultimately up to Ben. There's a reason why they want 10. There's a reason why Liam wants 12.
Yeah, of course.
But as far as I'm concerned, if you're training for a 10, you should be training for a 12.
Where are you on Whittaker with this situation? If he wins or he loses? If he loses, do you believe that the balloon, all the air's gone, and all the mythology and the iconography that's been built around Ben Whittaker and the showboating and all the stylisation of him, that's all now gone? There's no rebuild from that?
Absolutely.
Or do you think that's not necessarily prevalent?
No, I think that, look, listen, that's the character that he's built, when it comes across the way he comes across, and it's great and it sells.
Because he was keen to play it down, and he was keen to play it down.
Absolutely,
he was a very humble young man.
And that might have been a smart move from his side. He's come away from social media, which has been quite prominent in his life, if you like, and he's built up a huge social media following by the way that he is. You remember like a young Nazim Hamid many, many years ago, but you've got to back that up. Now, he's in a situation now where that situation happened last time, and like I say, only he knows. He gets the chance to rerun it and right those wrongs, but he has to win in this one. Yeah. Otherwise, that aura's gone around him, and then what is it? That's the selling point.
What about if he wins? I mean, I think he will win. I've maintained the position that I think he'll box Liam Cameron's head off, right? But when we look at the light heavyweight division, even just in Britain, right, and we look at Josh Boazzi, who just recently lost to Callum Smith. We look at Callum Smith. We look at Anthony Yard. Right? We look at Willie Hutchinson. Right? Where is Ben?
He's chasing the pack. It's all about timing in boxing. It's all about getting that experience, doing your apprenticeship, getting the rounds under your belt. He's not done a 12-rounder yet. He needs to do the 12-rounders. He needs all that experience. When you're talking about fighters like Joshua Boazzi, who's been there, seen it, done it. He's had to dig deep. He's had to come through those rough times. And, even with Callum Smith as well, even Dan Aziz and fighters like that, they've all done that apprenticeship. This kid is chasing the pack. He's still got a long way to go before he gets there. We're highlighting that he has star potential, his superstar quality. But that's why some of the noise have to go through that apprenticeship.
That's why some of the noise has been a little bit unrealistic, and some of the distractions, running around in Milan getting photographs of himself in various outfits is probably not the best way to operate.
I think that he's finding out himself now. I think when he turned professional, he said, "I'm going to be British champion after 5 fights." The realisation is now kicking in. This sport ain't as easy as what you think it is. It's not all about talent and just turning up. At a certain level, you get away with that. And I think against Liam Cameron last time out, he realised, actually, you need a little bit of dog in there as well.
Where are you on the Liam Cameron observation that was made to Ben that he's very big at the weight, or too big at the weight?
That's a great observation. A very, very strong point that he's got there, and I think we'll find that out again in this fight, where you look at it and you go, Whittaker's got all the talent in the world. He's got the boxing skills, the IQ, all of that. Doesn't seem to have that punch. Doesn't seem to have that punch power at that weight. And you look at him and you go, he's sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place, Robert, because the light heavyweight and cruiserweight division, there's such a gulf in weight difference in that. You look at him and go, he's huge for a light heavy, but tiny for a cruiserweight, and that's where he's at right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's a very talented young man. I mean, it's simple as that. And he's got to decide whether he really wants to do it. When things get really tough, whether he wants to do it, and that's something that you can't teach. That's just you're born with that.
It's innate.
It's innate. It's as simple. But as I say, he's very talented. Liam's very, very good boxer, very, very tough, and so I think it was a good lesson. I mean, you mustn't forget, people have been beaten before. I mean, Alan Minter was beaten 2 or 3 times, and he went on to win a world title, and he was an Olympic medalist as well. So it's not new. It's what you learn from it is the most important thing, and the people around. Again, Andy Lee's a good addition. It's the people around you.
But I guess it's who you get beaten by and at what stage in your career you get beaten.
But I don't think this. If he were to lose again, I don't think. Depending how he lost, I don't think it would be a disaster for him. He's still young, but depends if he were to lose, how he would lose, and also if he wins, how he wins. Because if it's a really squeaky decision, they'll be screaming for a third fight.
Talking about rebuilds, we see Fraser Clark on the undercard after that savage knockout by Fabio Wardley. What's your take on Fraser coming back in?
Well, he's got Ebenezer Teti, who's a tough guy. He's an unpredictable character. Yeah, Daniel Dubois blew him away in a round, but we saw him last time out losing in 7 rounds to Dillian Whyte, and he was giving Dillian Whyte some problems and making Dillian Whyte answer some questions. He's unpredictable, he's heavy-handed, and you go for Fraser Clark as a comeback fight with what he went through, and that was brutal. We was all out there in Saudi, and you saw the disfigure in his face. and you looked at it and thought, wow. And I saw him at the airport the following day, and it was like they'd done an amazing job out there. I must say, the surgeon's done an amazing job. Rebuilt his cheek out. I didn't expect to see him in the ring. What was it, 4 or 5 months ago now?
Yeah,
5 months ago. I can't believe, actually, that he's in a ring so soon after having such a significant injury. And I hope that doesn't play on his mind going into that one. Because, like I say, Tetty's a dangerous opponent. Like, at this stage with the injuries he's coming off.
We're all going to wish Fraser well, aren't we? Because we're all very fond of
I think with Fraser, though, because of his age, you've got to come back quick.
Yeah.
You've got to come back with a decent fight.
Yep.
You can't...
Get rid of
not
the demons.
for me, I'm not a matchmaker for his mate. But you've got to get rid of the demons, and he'll find out.
Yeah.
But he's a very talented young man in a division that actually is, you know, for him, is winnable. British title fight, you know, whatever, you know.
Absolutely. We'll see. We'll see. Good luck to Fraser.